Hello everyone. This video is meant to help you with what's often the most challenging part of a Pecha presentation, which is choosing your topic. If we're supposed to talk about what we're passionate about, a lot of people feel at a loss to what it is they really want to share. And so I want to use this time to present a few options just to get your ideas going. All right? So I'm going to scroll down from our main page here just to show first our new syllabus. This is for the rest of our semester. And here is the updated course resources page. So I'm going to ask everyone to click on this to see some of these resources. And what I've added there are some more links for things that should help with this assignment. The first is where we'll spend a lot of our time in this video looking at a LibGuide created by humanities librarian Kathy Fahey, and using some of the tools she's given us there. Here, this is just a reminder that looking at examples from pecha.com can also get your ideas going. For those of you that were interested in the essay topic that we're not going to choose, we're not going to write an essay for our final assignment, but if you want to do a pecha about the current outbreak, there's a link here about how to find information and articles on one of the best sources for college information, which is the Chronicle of Higher Education. So click that link and you can learn a lot more. The links below here are all related to later in the assignment about when we're making our pechachas and writing our process papers. So I'm going to click the LibGuide for generating topics and talk us through a few different tools that are there that might make you think about subjects that might not immediately occur to you. So this LibGuide has a few links, and you can get to this from our page. And I just want to talk through how some of these might help you think about people, projects that you might not otherwise consider, that might not be sort of readily to mind, that you might want to describe as part of your pecha. The first is this link to MacArthur Fellows, which you might not have ever heard of, but there is an organization, the MacArthur Foundation, that gives genius grants. That is, tens of thousands of dollars to people that are doing amazing work in many different fields to try to get them to continue being such geniuses, to keep changing the world. And simply finding out who's doing great work in this area might actually make you realize either that person is worth talking about or their project is worth talking about. So I'm going to click the MacArthur Fellows link, and when we go to the main page, there's a lot of information here. But for me, what I would encourage, just to get things started, is click Search All Fellows. With this information here, if you wanted to look up a particular individual, you can put their name in. But let's say I'm just a student who's in a major wondering, I wonder if there's something in my major that's worth pursuing. So I'm going to choose Filter Area by Focus. And let's try going down to, under social sciences, let's try psychology. All right. So by focusing on psychology, we've got a few names that come up. The older ones don't have a photograph, the new ones do. But if we take a look, for example, at Jennifer Eberhardt, this is a great example of a fantastic project. And if you click on the link, there's a lot of information about her. And you can learn about her project, which was focused on trying to take a look at how psychology is related to how people racially code and categorize people. A fantastic work and stuff worth, well worth learning more about. Now, if you don't want to look just by major, another option that you might consider would be by some sort of topic. And so if we scroll through here, oops, apologies there, and instead look by topic, and I had one in mind here, immigration. By clicking this link, we have a couple of amazing people that immediately come up on screen. And right here, Mr. Arulan Anthem, by clicking on the link here, we can find out all the work that he's done as a human rights lawyer, protecting the rights of immigrants. And so here is just a couple people that are well worth learning more about. By clicking this and by following some of the links that follow, you could find out a lot more about a person, and that person could become the subject of your presentation. Now, if we go back to our LibGuide here, there's other options too. One great one that actually led to a lot of great presentations is just doing what a lot of you do just in your spare time. That is, checking out TED Talks. And By clicking on a link like this, of course, many have seen this, there are so many different things to choose from. But by going to the watch link and just choosing TED Talks, we can then, for example, choose by topic. For me, I was just, again, trying to think of majors. That's one of the things that I know about you. And so by typing in nursing, for example, we get a host of medical-related issues. So I'm going to get that out of the screen there. And this right here, this presentation called A Tribute to Nurses, could be a fantastic example of something interesting. Now, we don't want to just reproduce what this person has done in their presentation, but nevertheless, it might introduce you to a person, a project, an idea that's well worth talking about in your Pecha Kucha. In addition, you might not know this, but below the videos, there's often a reading list, and those other sources similarly could give you an idea or more information for your Pecha Kucha that you might be able to use that could sort of lead to the presentation that you want to give. Now, another approach that we can go doesn't use our LibGuide, and that's simply going to Google and remembering that each of you is in a field and a discipline that has professional organizations. And so if, let's say, you're a history major and you were wondering, how do I know who's great in history and what great work is being done in history? We could just type in history and society, and by looking, we get a bunch of different things that come up. And this one seems to be a national organization, so I'm going to go to the American Historical Association. By going to their website, we get a lot of stuff to look at, but almost every professional organization has awards and grants. And so by clicking this link, we can find out what people in this profession prize as important work. So by scrolling down a little bit, we can find out which awards are available, what kind of work is sort of prized by this particular organization. And if we look at who the winners are, we might discover that there are individuals who are doing things that we want to talk about in our projects. Finally, if we go back to our course resource LibGuide, another thing that often leads to interesting projects for Pecha Kuchas is finding out what cool projects are still in the works. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Kickstarter, Indiegogo, things like this, but if we go to Kickstarter, this right here is a platform for raising money to create video games, create musical albums, create different products, things in design and tech, films, and looking through here, you might find a project that you find so cool that you really want to share it with the class. And by doing a little research this way, you might find out things that you actually want to talk about. For me, another source like this would be something that's called Patreon. And if you simply do a search on Patreon for artists, you could find works and creators out there that you want to talk about as well. I'm just going to mention one of my favorites. This gentleman right here, Will Wood out of New Jersey. He's an artist, a musician, and by doing a bit of research here on how he's doing in fundraising, how he pitches his art to potential audiences, you can find out more about him, and you might say, oh, actually, that's the kind of person I want to do a presentation about myself. So this is a lot of information, but it gives you a few different tools that we can look at to start imagining your topic. And we'll have plenty of time in the weeks ahead to sort of isolate the topic, choose what your core idea is, and figure out what it is that your audience might take away from watching your Pecha Kucha, the thing they'll remember and the thing that they'll enjoy most.